Good evening, everyone. We would like to welcome you back to our Team Tuesdays webinar series. My name is Kristen Lenig, and I am the Central Field Director for Special Olympics Pennsylvania. I will be your host today. During our webinar, my teammate Haley Fuzak, who is our SOPA Marketing and PR Manager, will be operating this presentation. Happy Volunteer Appreciation Week, everyone. A huge thank you to each and every one of our SOPA volunteers. Now, I know this year has not been normal and it has not been easy, but all of you have stepped up and put our athletes' needs first and found creative and fun ways to keep them engaged and help them through this pandemic. Now, this week always holds a special place in my heart as I actually started out as a volunteer with Special Olympics. My Special Olympics journey started in Northumberland, Snyder counties back in my early 20s, right after college. And I will say I have all the volunteers there to thank for getting me involved and part of their Special Olympics family. We all know that Special Olympics athletes are the magic of this organization, but it takes magicians to host the show. And magicians you are, and we want to celebrate that tonight. So thank you to all the volunteers who've helped change many lives for our athletes and many lives for volunteers and future staff members for me. Now, without further ado, we are going to begin our volunteer celebration and jump right into our presentation. As a reminder, this webinar is recorded and will be posted to the SOPA YouTube channel later, where you can share with others. As you all know, for the past year, we have used this webinar series to connect with all of you and share helpful and motivational content to continue our mission. I just want to say thank you to everyone who has tuned in and joined us on this journey. So let's kick off this webinar by hearing from Matt Aaron, the President and CEO of Special Olympics Pennsylvania.
Good evening, everybody. It's great to be with you. Kristen, thanks for the introduction. And I think your words about our volunteers were spot on. And of course, this evening, Murphy's Law struck. And just before I came on, my neighbor started his leaf blower. So I hope that everybody can hear me okay. But I just wanted to briefly acknowledge the fact that this is Volunteer Appreciation Week. And we are very excited and grateful for the contributions of so many of you, what you do day in, day out, and truly year round to support our athletes. I'm very excited tonight that we have some athlete leaders with us to be part of the discussion, and we'll be hearing from them along with some volunteers, but really focused on the experience of working with volunteers and honoring and recognizing them, but in so doing, really honoring and recognizing all of you. So to all of our coaches and volunteers, and for those volunteers who wear many, many hats, thank you for all that you do for our athletes. So Kristen, let me turn it back over to you, and let's introduce the team and get started.
All right, thank you, Matt. I think you're right. I think it's time to get started in this celebration of all of our volunteers. We are so excited to kick off this webinar series tonight. First, we are actually going to hear from SOPA's very own Manager of Volunteer Services, Carolyn Kushner.
Hello and good evening. I'm so excited to be here tonight. I'd like to first of all thank Haley and Kristen for inviting me and our volunteers to be highlighted during National Volunteer Week. National Volunteer Week recognizes the impact that volunteers have on everyday community activities. Volunteers give their time and energy, their talents to transform many different things across the country. And we are, of course, forever grateful for our particular volunteers. Today, the SOPA volunteers we have with us have really, really extraordinary stories, and we're very excited to share them with you. We hope that you leave tonight feeling inspired and excited about the year we have in front of us. National Volunteer Week was established in 1974. It highlights volunteers and volunteer activities, whether they're online, like we've been doing a lot of this year, or in an office, or whether they're at the local food bank, or working with athletes at practices or competitions, or even at a registration desk or behind a computer doing database coordinating or making phone calls. All of those things are super important and really highlight how important volunteers are across the country. So just some stats to talk about a little bit as we move through, but these are from SOI, and these stats were taken a couple of years ago. But as you can see on the screen, we have over 1 million volunteers that dedicate time to Special Olympics across the country. And that's certainly a lot of people. It includes 339,000 youth volunteers, 74,000 law enforcement volunteers, 25,000 health volunteers, and over 430,000 coaches. These are extraordinary numbers, and we're so lucky to have an organization that values the support of community interaction with our population of athletes. Here in Special Olympics Pennsylvania, we have approximately 30,000 volunteers who help us in all kinds of ways and are extremely important to us as an organization, and they're important to us in everything that we do. Our mission is, of course, all about the athletes, and without the help of volunteers and without their guidance and planning in how we move forward, we wouldn't be able to do any of the things that we do throughout the year. We appreciate everything that volunteers are doing, and especially over the last year, we're certainly looking forward to getting back to in-person activities and spending time together in multiple ways. So once again, on behalf of the organization and myself, we just want to say thank you. And please, if you have any questions about any of the activities that the volunteers are involved with that you hear about tonight, feel free to reach out to anyone, and we can be sure to point you in the right direction for advancing your career as a volunteer with Special Olympics. Thanks, Kristen.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. Thank you for all the fun facts and important facts as well. It's great to have all of you guys gathered here today so we can help celebrate all the volunteer work that we do and highlight how important it is. So for Volunteer Appreciation Week, that's why our Team Tuesday webinar was with this theme, because of it happening during this week. And we wanted to take some time to showcase all the important things that the volunteers do for our organization and what they do for our athletes and the general organization as a whole. So we are going to talk tonight with some athletes and volunteers. We're going to share some stories I think you all will really enjoy and really showcase how every one of you has a profound impact on all of our athletes' lives. So in the next portion of our webinar, we are going to be joined with several pairs of athletes and volunteers who will share their stories and highlight the various types of programming that SOPA has to offer. So we're going to start with our first pair. It is now my pleasure to welcome our first round of guest speakers, AJ Knight, who is an athlete from Washington Green counties, and he is working towards becoming a health and fitness coordinator, with Kimber Nutter, who's also a Washington Green volunteer, who is AJ's mentor. So let's see if we get them both on screen here before we start. Oh, there they are. I see them. Hello, hello. Hello. Awesome. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us tonight. I'm so excited to talk to the both of you, and I know you have a lot to share. We spoke before this call, and it was great talking to both of you. So I know we're going to have a great story to share with everybody else, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. All right, so AJ, we're going to start with you. Can you tell us about your Special Olympics background and your journey towards becoming a health and fitness coordinator?
Yeah. Okay. I have been a Special Olympics Pennsylvania athlete for 9 years. I compete in basketball, for hockey, Paralympics, and long distance running and walking for years. I have wanted to be a health and fitness coordinator for my low program. And this year, when I became old enough, my goal became a reality when Miss Kimber agreed to become my mentor as part of my training. I have been leader fitness hospitality team warm up once a week. I teach athletes about eating healthy music fit by help them create attainable healthy goal and checking on everyone to make sure they are okay. Everyone knows that if they need help, they can call me. I love me with Mr. Kimber and planning our adventure. Hopefully, after Kimber is awesome.
That's great, AJ. And I'm glad to see that you were able to use the fitness heptathlon to help your athletes teach them their warm-ups and talk about Fit 5. And you can still do all that virtually, which has been great. I know it's not the same, but it's still great programming for you guys to stay active. And it sounds like your athletes are also able to contact you whenever they need you. So you're staying in touch with all your friends, right?
Yeah.
I thought so. That's wonderful, AJ. And it is amazing to hear about how you had this goal of becoming a health and fitness coordinator even before you were old enough to be in that position. You had that goal and you worked with Kimber to get towards that goal once you were old enough. That's amazing. And now you're working on accomplishing that goal. So it's a great motivator and a great inspiration to all, right?
Yeah.
All right, now we're gonna put Kimber in the hot seat. How about that, AJ?
Yeah.
I bet so. So Kimber, we're gonna ask you to give us some background on how you got involved with SOPA and then also how you became connected with AJ.
Yeah, so I got really into this field when it's been about 7-8 years now. I've been working with individuals with special needs, running various programs, a summer camp education pieces, working with schools. And actually how I met AJ was about 7 years ago at the summer camp I was overseeing. And he was one of my athletes. His brother Jackson was one of my campers, not athletes, campers. And about, I would say, a year into getting to know this family, I mentioned to Jody that one of my favorite things of doing with the campers was going swimming because I grew up as a swimmer. I miss it. And she's like, well, we need a swim coach. I was like, oh, I'll do it because I loved coaching when I was younger. I was doing I've been a lifeguard and all that stuff. So she's like, well, we could really use a swim coach. So really 6 years ago, she pulled me in for swim coach. And then I've pretty much now just one thing after another. I don't say no. So now I'm like, I help with the bowling program, the long distance program. Really right now what I've been doing is the virtual programs and the heptathlon and working with AJ. But I absolutely love it every single day. So
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Kimber, I don't know if you want to tell it or AJ, kind of the story of how AJ asked you, I think he asked you to be your mentor. Is that how that happened?
Do you want me to say, or would you like to, AJ?
I like to say to you.
You want to say it? How'd you ask me to be? I'm not sure it's on your paper.
Kimber, it's awesome.
So we were actually at a management meeting. Do you remember? We were at a management meeting.
We were running
a year ago, and he was just finally aged. He's been wanting to do this. I've known he's wanted to do this for several years. And so he actually asked me at a management meeting, Miss Kimber, will you be my my athlete rep and help my mentor? And I was like, definitely, buddy. I mean, I've watched AJ grow up for the last 7 years, so it was just natural fit. We've been buddies since 7 years, so it was like, definitely I'll do it. And not only his mentor, I also got roped into being the athlete representative person, so I love it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And AJ, can you tell us why you wanted Kimber to be your mentor? You might have already told us. I'm not quite sure.
As I told it.
I think you
Mr.
already.
Kimber is awesome. The part special of it, Pennsylvania together.
I thought so. I heard you say she was awesome earlier. That must be the tagline for Kimber, right?
Yeah.
And Kimber, can you tell us what it has meant to you to serve as AJ's mentor?
It's been a wonderful experience just watching him grow and try new things. He definitely wants to keep the athletes involved. And unfortunately he's coming in at the time, he wants to do this right when the pandemic happened. So we've had to been really creative in a lot of the things we do. And it's been nice watching, he's so comfortable when he's with everyone, but this has been a new challenge for him as he's the only one speaking. So it's been a wonderful challenge and he's growing. I see it every day. He's getting more and more comfortable being on the computer in front of the athletes. So it's been nice.
Mm-hmm. And I think everyone can see it. I saw it when I first met you guys on Zoom that you guys have an excellent bond. That you've been good friends for years here, working through Special Olympics together, and you guys make a great team. You make a great pair working together, and that's definitely evident. So let's also talk about why it's important for programs to have a health and fitness coordinator. So Kimber, we're going to start with you. Can you tell us why it's important for the health and fitness coordinator to be part of your program?
Yeah, so for us, it's really helping with the Fit 5 program. Like, when Chelsea started the initiative, the Fit 5 program, we were like, yes, let's do this. And having that health and fitness coordinator really helps get the word to the athletes, because I can say, drink the 5 bottles of water, eat those 5 fruits, exercise 5 days a week until I'm blue in the face. But I'm the coach. When it's coming out from like AJ, the athletes are like, okay, yeah, let's do it, because it's coming from the perspective of an athlete who is in their same shoes.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Very true. And AJ, can you tell us why it's important to have health and fitness coordinators?
It's very important. Company is help the athlete needs Fit 5 if we them to eat healthy.
That's right. Reminds them to eat healthy and hydrate and exercise, all those important things, right?
Yes, that's important things.
Very important. And that's very true. It's important for our athletes to stay healthy and create these healthy habits, because we want them to reach their full potential. And especially at this time when we all can't be together and doing the workouts together, for you guys virtually using the fitness heptathlon, that's a way to still connect together and be healthy together, which is awesome. Now, Kimber, can you talk to us a little bit, speaking of virtual programming and things like that, can you tell us a little bit about how you've been engaging with your athletes during this pandemic?
Yeah, definitely. So right when we heard we were going virtual, we, coming from this field, knew that if we disrupt any kind of schedules, we were going to lose everyone. So Jody and I immediately were like, okay, we're taking this. We didn't know what we were doing. We really never used Zoom. So we were just like, okay, we didn't know if we could practice or anything like that. So instead we were doing movie nights and we were doing dances, and like we did tie dyeing, and we did just like over Easter we did cookie decorating. Once the virtual like the sauna challenges and the heptathlon challenges were coming on, I was like, okay, I'll do them. We didn't have as many athletes right at the start, but as we kept doing it more and more, we kept getting a lot more interest. And as like we're going through it, I now have 10 athletes that are participating in the heptathlon, and it's wonderful. I'm so excited. And it's been a rough year, I do have to say. Like it's been rough even on me, just being at home, not seeing the athletes and that kind of stuff, but staying virtual at least once a week, seeing them, seeing their faces. I'm like, okay, this is why I do it. I can get through this. I miss my athletes, I miss being a person, but safety and their health is the most important thing. So if this is what we have to do, then we'll do it till we can come back.
And I can definitely say with your energy coming on a Zoom call, I'm sure the athletes, even though they miss seeing you in person, the burst of energy that you can give to a Zoom call, I'm sure is something to hold on to, even a weekly Zoom call. And that's very important, connecting with them in any way possible for the ones that we can connect with at this time, and keep that hope that we're going to be together soon. We just got to make it through this tough time right now. And I think, Kimber, when we talked, you also mentioned something about a scavenger hunt. Am I wrong?
Yes. Yeah, so we've done scavenger hunts. So AJ, what did we do? Remember what we did? It was part of your practicum.
We did warm-ups.
You do warm-ups, yes. But over winter, AJ wanted to do something fun for one of his practicums for health and fitness, and AJ created a at-home healthy food scavenger hunt. So AJ I asked AJ to write me up a ton of foods. What I did is I typed it up for him. I gave him a script and he presented it. He had the athletes. We had about, I would say, 20 athletes pop on board, and they came on and they went through their house to find healthy foods. And it was pretty cool. And he got to talk about what's right to eat, what's wrong to eat, that kind of stuff.
Wow. Wow. AJ, did you have fun doing that? That sounds really fun.
Yeah.
Everyone running around the house looking for different items. I bet. Did you warn the parents before you did that?
No.
No.
No. We just said, everybody was scavenger hunt.
They AJ, they probably said, this is AJ's idea, Mom and Dad. This is AJ's idea, but we have to root through all the cupboards, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you guys have had so many different activities. I love hearing all about it. And, we all know it's really been tough for everyone during this pandemic. And we've all had our low points, but Kimber, you and AJ working together, your commitment to your athletes is definitely providing a bright spot to everyone in your program and even on this call tonight. So Kimber, happy Volunteer Appreciation Week to you. Thanks to you and thanks to AJ for coming on this webinar tonight and sharing your story and your journey. We can't wait to see all the amazing work that you guys do together.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for joining tonight.
Thank you.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, as we get those guys off, we will now introduce our next pair. Our next pair is actually going to be Melissa Warner, an athlete leader from Bucks County, and her mentor, Carol Benfield. All right, do we have there we go, Melissa. Oh, nice background. Oh, there we go. Hey, Carol. Hey, Melissa. We'll switch back and forth there. All right, awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining tonight. We're excited to have you both on. Melissa, we're actually going to start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I've been a Special Olympics athlete for 20 years. I participate in soccer, softball, volleyball, track and field, snowshoe and bocce, figure skating, swimming, long distance running, and floor hockey. I'm an athlete rep for Bucks County. I'm a global messenger. I'm also the athlete rep for Bucks County. I'm a global messenger, and I was the head of Athlete Congress Trades. I served the Special Olympics Board of Directors.
Oh my goodness, you have quite the resume, Melissa. And as we can see here, a lot of experience, a lot of great experience. You talked about working with Athlete Congress and the Board of Directors. So you have tons of leadership experience. And we're going to talk a little bit today about that leadership experience and all the work you did with Carol to get to that point. So let's talk first. Can you tell us how you met Carol and why you asked her to serve as your mentor?
I met Carol about 15 years ago because of Carol's niece, Jessie, when she was playing soccer with us. Carol was on the management team and she was a coach. Our families got real close because of Special Olympics, and Carol has always been really easy for me to talk to. She's down to earth, a good friend, always there if you need her. So I asked her to become my mentor.
Awesome, really great. And it's definitely important to have a mentor that you're comfortable with. You knew Carol for a long period of time, and you guys had a lot of interactions with soccer and your families and things like that. So I'm glad you had Carol on your team that's of someone that you could turn to for this leadership role. Now, Carol, we're going to bounce over to you. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you got involved with Special Olympics and also what it's like being Melissa's mentor?
Well, it's pretty much like, I got involved because of my niece. And, it's important for the athletes to, with the understanding, that, be included into everyday life, not to be excluded. So, but my motto is, I don't believe I can't do it. You can do it. That's not in the vocabulary that you can't do something,
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I pretty much, treat Melissa like I do my own daughter, that she be my own daughter. Like, even the reason we're together is Sunday she had to rush her mom to the hospital with a possible mini stroke, which they still don't know yet. So she had to work tonight till 6 because her brother also had surgery tonight. So it's pretty much like we're like family. I make sure and I didn't want to leave her brother after having surgery today, at home.
Right.
So
no, that's amazing, and I'm glad to see that you can support her in other ways besides.
Well, like what Melissa won't tell you, like her mom didn't really want to go to the hospital, and Melissa goes, "Mom, we're going to the hospital." And see, I mean, and the nurse even told her it's a good thing you brought her here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we want. We want them to be able to handle emergency situations.
Right. That's amazing. No, I'm glad she's able to take charge and help her mom as well, help her mom and her brother. That's amazing. So she's definitely a leader in her family, right?
Yes, she is.
And through Special Olympics. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can we talk, Melissa, we want to ask you a little bit about how Carol has helped you. We just talked a little bit right now, but also some other examples of how Carol has helped you both inside and outside of Special Olympics. Can you give us some examples?
In Special Olympics, Carol helps me with my speeches. I get nervous and she helps me create little tricks to calm my nerves. And she always has a smiling face in the crowd. With Carol's help, I got to serve as an MC at Fall Fest, something I would have been petrified before becoming a global messenger. Outside of SOPA, she's helped me work my way up at my job at Sesame Place. Overall, because of Carol and the athlete leadership program, I built up my self-esteem and realized that my voice does matter and that Special Olympics truly does want us to be leaders. Carol, thank you for being my friend, mentor, coach, and thank you for everything you've done for me in Special Olympics and beyond.
Awesome. You guys have obviously an incredible bond as well. Like we've seen, both inside and outside of Special Olympics. It goes beyond the court, beyond the field, right, Carol?
Yep.
And you guys knowing each other for this many years and helping to support each other and grow. I think it's awesome that Melissa was able to share her personal stories tonight and her personal accomplishments, whether it's the workplace or outside of Special Olympics, just making sure she's a leader in her own life. That's amazing. So I'm glad you've been able to share those examples with us tonight and help us all kind of be inspired. Now, Carol, we want to ask you what type of advice you would give a volunteer who is considering becoming a mentor to one of our athletes.
I mean, it's actually a challenge. I mean, not a challenge. It's like a privilege because you get to see them grow, like, especially if they couldn't write a speech or they had issues with, say, not like Melissa said, I would like on her when she had to write a speech, I would put little smiley faces to remind her to look up. And now she can do it pretty much without doing that, and Special Olympic actually keeps me young, and I would tell everybody to go for it. It gives you that feeling that you're doing something positive in their lives when sometimes they don't get that positively, maybe at home or, in school or whatever, if you want to go being a volunteer / coach, mentor, I would go for it because it's a blessing.
And Carol, you know, when we talked with you and Melissa before, we were talking about all the ways that you guys have supported each other and inspired each other in different ways. And we talked about Sesame Place, but didn't you also tell me a story about her driver's license?
Oh yeah, like back then, she was like, you know, believe it or not, most of me, I'll admit that I failed it on the first time. Here it is. We encouraged her to go for a driver's test. She passed the computer one first time, passed the road test first time, where most of us might have had it taken it like twice. And she has her own checking account, you know, able to pay bills, you know, which a lot of the athletes don't know how to do that. Cause like I said, one athlete we had in Bucks County, when unfortunately his dad died about maybe 10 years ago or so, he had nobody to take him, and they pretty much put him in a hotel room, and it was during the wintertime, and he didn't know what to do. When somebody went back to go see him, a cousin apparently showed up. The room was freezing. I mean, if he would have stayed there without anybody checking on him, who knows what would have happened, you know, but he's come a long way. He knows how to do things still now because she's, you know, helped him with that.
Right. And it's just incredible to hear the story of, you know, you meeting, you know, Melissa and some of these other athletes as well, meeting our volunteers and things just evolving and, you know, first teaching them to be leaders, you know, on the field, you know, on the court, you know, with their fellow athletes, but then also working as leaders with their family, whether it is, you know, something going on with their families, any kind of crisis or situation where they can step in and actually take charge of a situation and be an advocate for their family, an advocate for themselves. But also the story that you shared, you know, getting her her career started, getting her a job at Sesame Place and getting that started, something that she probably wasn't sure she was going to do before. Melissa, can you tell us a little bit about there we are, slide it over. Can you tell us a little bit what that felt like, that, you know, Carol helped you get a job at Sesame Place, and then she talked about your driver's license and your checking account. Like, what's that been like, you know, having Carol support you in that way? How has that been felt for you?
I have more more freedom and more so I could do more stuff on my own, and like, can't figure the word I'm thinking about, but to have more freedom and to prove to myself that I can do whatever I put my mind to.
That's very good. Gives you a little bit more confidence too, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
I guessed it. Melissa, can you tell me, do you think that if you hadn't met Carol, that you would have a job at Sesame Place?
Well, I got the job at Sesame Place myself. She helped me move up in my security position.
Oh, so she helped you move up in the position, get a promotion. Is that right?
Yes.
And then what about the other stuff we were talking about, the driver's license and the checking account? Would you have gotten that without her help?
Maybe. I just don't know when I would have got all that stuff.
You don't know when. So Carol was a little bit of a pusher for you, right?
Yes.
She's pushing you up that promotion ladder and pushing you to do all kinds of things, isn't she?
Yes.
You know, I would say maybe she's going to push you into some other sports, but your list that you had earlier, is there any sport you haven't done yet, Melissa?
Yeah, I haven't done horseback riding. I would like to do that one. Though there's some, yeah, the horseback riding is definitely one.
And powerlifting.
I tried it, but then I didn't keep with it, but I might try that again. But yeah.
Well, there you go, Carol. There's your next project. You're going to have to get a horse.
There you go.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, guys. It's been great to see how you both have supported each other, again, on and off the field, and in so many different, you know, aspects of Melissa's life and Carol's life as well. Wonderful to see that you guys have established this lifelong friendship, and like you said, you know, you're more family than anything. So awesome story. Thank you so much, Carol. Happy Volunteer Appreciation Week to you.
Thank you.
And thank you to you and to Melissa for coming on and sharing your personal story and journey together.
Thank you.
All right, awesome. So thank you so much. We are actually going to start with our third round of volunteers and athletes. It's my pleasure to welcome our last round here. We have Christine Stout, who is an athlete from Chester County.
Oh, I know who that is. Never mind.
Her coaches, Shelly and Andy Foraker, who are volunteers from Chester County as well. Now, Shelly and Andy actually coached Chester County's unified soccer team and had the amazing experience of competing at the 2018 USA Games in Seattle, which is amazing. Hello, hello. But before we get started with all of you guys, we actually want to share something with you first. Before we dive into your story, we're going to play a special video message from Lisa Robinson, who's also one of your athletes from your unified soccer team. She unfortunately couldn't be on here tonight, but she wanted to share her story and experience with everyone. Hi, Lisa, how are you this afternoon?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for joining.
You're welcome.
I'd like to learn a little bit about you. So can we start by having you introduce yourself and tell us how long you've been a Special Olympics athlete and what type of sports you play?
Absolutely. Hello, my name is Lisa Robinson from Chester County. I have been a Special Olympics athlete for 25 years. I started when I was 11 years old in the special school that I went to in Coatesville. I have played track and field, swimming, long distance walking, gymnastics, soccer, roller skating, ice skating, skiing, snowshoeing. But now I mainly focus on swimming, speed skating, soccer, and snowshoeing.
Wow, that is quite a list. I cannot remember all those sports, so I'm glad you can. So I was told that you joined a unified soccer team recently.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true? Can you tell me about that? Was that your first unified sport or your first time playing soccer?
Not the first time playing soccer, but my first time playing as a unified team.
Awesome. And how was that? What was that experience like?
It was so much fun. I liked having like unified people and us and stuff. I made friends with them, and sometimes I just hang out. Like a couple of them, I hang out with them outside of Special Olympics and stuff.
Is there a favorite part you had being on a unified team versus a traditional team?
I just like having the partners and stuff to help us and stuff. It was just fun. It was made with friends. It helped me do more kicking and skills, how to doing stuff. They help us.
All the extra friends and all the extra teammates, right?
Yep.
That's very cool. Now, I also heard that you got to go to USA Games back in 2018 to Seattle. Is that true?
Yep. That was so much fun.
Tell me about that.
That was so much fun.
You got to go and represent Team T.E.A.M, correct?
Yeah. It was so much fun to be Team T.E.A.M competition with my unified team and having other teams and stuff and competition and stuff.
Now, Lisa, have you ever been to a USA Games before? Was that your first games outside of Pennsylvania?
No, I'd been to 3 of them.
That was my third.
That was my third time. I went to Lincoln, Nebraska, and Ames, Iowa.
Very cool, very cool. Now let's talk about your soccer coaches. So you have Coach Shelly and Coach Andy, right?
Yep.
Can you tell me how they've helped you grow as a soccer player and also a teammate?
They were awesome. They had 2 practices per week, and that helped me a lot. And they're always asking us if we understand what they're telling us and showing us. And if they don't, they show us and stuff and encourage us and stuff.
They've helped develop your soccer skills a little more, right?
Yeah.
And have they helped you become a better teammate as well?
Yeah. Just helping everyone together and stuff.
We all get along.
We get along and stuff.
It sounds like your unified team likes to collaborate really well and help each other, and you guys are a great match, huh?
Yep.
Very cool. Can you tell us what Coach Shelley and Coach Andy's support has meant to you, Lisa?
It's they support me in they are great coaches. They encouraging us a lot. We had Zoom in the fall when we couldn't play, and that was a lot of fun.
Very cool. Very cool. You're keeping up in this virtual world, right?
Yeah.
Now, do you happen to have your USA Games medal?
Yeah. Hold on for like a second.
we wanna showcase the medal that you brought home. Now, can you tell us what place you got when you were over there?
We got second. We did a double overtime, and then we had to go in the shootout, and we lost in the shootout to I forget what team.
Wow, that is exciting. Let's see it. Oh my goodness. Rise with us. That is very cool. What does the back look like? Or is that the front? That's the front.
We got the Rise with us in the back.
It looks big too.
Yeah.
Want to put it on for us? Very cool. That is awesome. I bet you and all of your soccer players and Coach Shelley and Coach Andy are very proud, right?
Yeah.
And is there anything else you want to tell us about them or your experience, or just do you want to say thank you to them?
Yeah. Thank you so much. You guys rock.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you.
Wow. So I had a lot of fun talking with Lisa about Coach Shelley and Coach Andy, and it was great to hear her experience. And we're also going to talk tonight with one of their other athletes, Christine Stout. There she is. Hey, Christine.
Hi.
We're going to talk a little bit with her here live about her experience as well. So Christine, you were teammates with Lisa. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I started Special Olympics when I was really young and got involved through my high school. The first sport I did was downhill skiing. Now I also do soccer and track.
Awesome. Very cool. And you said, was this your first time playing soccer?
No.
This wasn't your first time. Okay. Just want to make sure we got that.
Yeah.
Now, Shelley and Andy, can you tell us how you first got involved with Special Olympics?
Okay, I guess I'll talk. So Andy and I have 3 daughters, and they're all, well, last one's graduating college in a couple of weeks. So they're all older. We coached softball for them from the time they were in T-ball all the way up, rec ball through travel. And we were on our way back from our last tournament that we would be coaching them. It was not a great experience, and we got rained out. It got canceled, so it was kind of sad. And as we're driving back from Virginia, Andy said, I know what I want to do next. And I'm like, okay, we're not even out of Virginia yet, but okay, hit me. And he said, I want to coach Special Olympics softball. So I got on my phone and I reached out to Chester County. I filled out an application and didn't hear anything for a little while. So then I called as a follow-up. And because it was the end of the summer, it wasn't softball season anymore. And they had a need for either a flag football coach or a soccer coach. And both of us played soccer like pretty much all our lives, and none of our kids did. So it was kind of like, okay, maybe this was meant to be. And then we, sat down with Angie and Lisa and, kind of talked about the program and got started from there.
And Andy, did you know anyone who was in the program before, or like, how did you come up with the idea of, I want to coach Special Olympics softball? Like, where'd that come from?
I had in college, had done an event I went to University of Delaware, and we had a swim meet there that I helped out with, and it was just a blast. And as watching my team warm up for the last time, I'm watching all the girls playing. I'm like, got to find something else to do. I've been coaching for 14 years, so got to find that next activity, and it just kind of hit me. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that you weren't even out of Virginia. That's great. That's great. And did either of you know what unified sports was before you came to SOPA?
No clue. Not a clue. No.
And I'm sure when you first signed on as soccer coaches, did you know you were going to be coaching unified? Like, how did that evolve?
No, it was just kind of, we need coaches. So here you go. We're starting, and next thing you know, they're like, well, you're going to be working with a unified team and here's what it's about and have at it.
Very cool, very cool. Now, Christine, can you tell us about Unified Sports? Were you ever on any other Unified Sports teams, or is the Unified Soccer team your first?
Unified Soccer was my first experience with Unified Sports. It means a lot to me because I don't feel excluded and see my disability. I really enjoy working with new skills.
Very cool, very cool. You enjoy working with your teammates to learn new skills. Is that what you said at the end there?
Yeah.
Okay. Great, great. And now, Shelly and Andy, it was a little bit of a whirlwind for you. I mean, you guys came on and it was okay. We can't do softball, so we're going to start soccer. And you guys went from what, like 0 to 100? Your first year getting involved, you end up going to USA Games, right? Is that right?
Yes,
Yep.
it is. Yeah,
I wonder if I.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be a 3-month commitment, end of August to, end of October through Fall Fest. And then we ended up facing Lehigh, who we had faced earlier in the season. And we kind of went back and forth all season. They'd win, we'd win, they'd win, we'd win. And they won the first game, and it was the best out of 5 that they dubbed the Battle for Seattle. And we came back and won the rest of them to earn the right to go to Seattle. And we were literally just floored. And no clue. Okay, so what does this mean? Okay, so now we're going to be doing this year round as we get ready to go to Seattle for vacation next year. So yeah, it was unbelievable.
I'm sure a lot of volunteers on our call can relate to. Oh, it's just a 3-month commitment. It's just a small little temporary thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and here we are 4 years later.
Dove in head first, right?
That's it. Yep.
So can we talk a little bit more about your experience on the road to USA Games and what it was like to be a part of Team P.A.? What did that mean to you guys?
That was, I can't even describe it in words. It was just such a rewarding experience and so much fun. All of the things we got to do leading up to it, even the extra practice time, and we went up to Penn State for workouts, and it really was just a great time. Meeting all the people from the different counties, just making new friends. And, now a lot of the athletes that we see when we're at competitions that are in other sports, they've been part of your team now. So it's great to see them at the other events when we're out doing our other competitions.
That's awesome. That's so cool. And I'm sure I remember watching it on TV. It feels like ages ago, right? But I remember seeing you guys all come in the stadium, like a sea of purple, just all of you running in. And that must have been so cool just to even represent Pennsylvania, let alone as well as Chester County, but just being part of Team PA, to be part of that whole team there, the state, right?
It was amazing.
Yeah, we probably had a good half a mile plus walk through just a sea of people cheering you on before you went to the stadium, and it was just awesome.
Now, I do have to also ask you, you said you were coaches for a long time for your daughters for softball. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we promise we won't tell, but was the experience at USA Games and with Special Olympics, did it top any of your experiences as softball coaches?
I would say yes, definitely.
we promise we won't tell. Wonderful, wonderful. And Christine, I know that you also went to USA Games, just like Lisa. And
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, what was it like for you to represent Chester County and be part of Team PA?
It was so much fun. I love getting to make friends with athletes from all the different counties in Pennsylvania and from all the different states. It was very cool to see the opening ceremonies. Our team got second place. It was cool to see how the rest of the team Pennsylvania did as well. One of the experience that really caught my eye was during USA Games. Coach Joe and Andy helped our team bond by having us all write down good things about each other.
They had you all write down good things about each other. Is that right?
Yes, it was a secret. We were on stage. He's like, "Shall I come to my office?"
Well, that sounds like quite a good team building exercise to write good things down about each other. Sometimes we're our own worst critics and we don't see all the good things, right? We don't look in the mirror close enough, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome, Christine. Now, Christine, can you also tell us why you enjoy playing on a team for Coach Shelley and Coach Andy?
They always cheer me on, encourage me. Even if the team loses, they still have positive things to say, and they also help us work through practice. Even if I have a bad day, when I get to practice, Coach Shelley and Coach Andy turn my whole day around in my new team. They have been supporting us through the pandemic by ensuring we do Fit 5 and issuing our Zoom challenges. This has been helpful to me because I'm not someone who likes to exercise.
And I remember when we talked with Christine, she had said specifically that if she was having a bad day, when she got to see Coach Shelley and Coach Andy, her whole day would turn around. And it was now a good day because she was with them and with her teammates at practice. Is that right, Christine?
Yes.
That's what she told us. So I said, that is a pretty high compliment. We're going to have to make sure we tell them.
And I have to say that feeling is mutual because Lord knows we've had our bad days too, and showing up for practice and seeing Christine and Lisa and everyone else there just ready to play and just eager with a smile. It literally made the day, go away. Any bad days go away.
And I gotta say, Christine has the best laugh ever.
I do.
She's proud of that laugh.
And she's sunshine.
That is awesome. That's quite an experience for all of you. Now, we talked a little bit about this, but Coach Shelley and Coach Andy, can you tell us as well, how is coaching Special Olympics different than coaching in your previous years with your daughters in softball? How has that been different for you guys working with the athletes, and what has that kind of all meant to you?
Good.
I just we get so much back from the athletes, and just the effort that's put in and the work, and anything you ask them to do, they'll do. We've just had nothing but positive experiences with it.
That's
And
awesome.
the whole organization as a whole has just been really super to work with. Just, very welcoming from the start and helpful if we need anything, if we have any questions, there's always a lot of resources there. And like Andy said, it really is just gratifying to see the athletes grow and progress through the season. And just to touch back on Team PA for a second, meeting all the athletes from the other counties and being together as one team for Team PA was just amazing. And it's amazing to show up at these events after that and hear Coach Shelley, Coach Andy, and it's not our direct team, but it's it's people from Team PA, which again, just literally makes our day. It really does.
And I imagine one of those experiences, like kind of what you were just saying, when you're in there with a group and you all go somewhere, you travel together, you experience something together as that kind of that bubble, that little family, it means something to all of you. It holds a special place in your heart. And just seeing those athletes probably at other events or in the future at other events, it'll just remind you of all those good memories and all the camaraderie that you guys shared.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to those in-person meetings very soon.
Yes, very much. Now, I do have one more question for you guys. Can you give us some advice for any brand new coaches out there, brand new coaches and brand new volunteers that are looking to get started with SOPA? What type of advice would you give them?
I would say challenge your athletes. I know that's something initially I was hesitant to push as hard maybe as they should be pushed, and challenging the athletes, it's just amazing. You give them that challenge, and at first it might not seem they take to a certain skill, but then when you see them playing in a game and you see them execute what you worked on, and I just found the more I pushed, the more we got from them, and there's nothing they can't do. They are just truly awesome, and as I said before, the work that they put in is just really nice to see.
And probably very rewarding as coaches.
Extremely. And I think Carol had mentioned it too. We never treated our athletes any different than we treated any of our daughters or our softball players or any other coach or any other sport that we've coached, through the years. They're athletes at the end of the day, and you're there to help them improve their game, help them with communication and with teamwork and all those good things. And they just embrace it. And that's what makes it really so much, so rewarding.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Well, thank you so much, Coach Andy, Coach Shelley. Happy Volunteer Appreciation Week to you two.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both, and thank you, Christine, for coming on and sharing your story and your journey. Very nice to hear all of your stories tonight, and we can't wait for your team to be back in action, your soccer team, as I'm sure you guys feel the same, right?
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take a second here to actually bring everyone else back on just to finish up our webinar. But I do want to mention tonight for all the volunteers listening, if you haven't noticed a common theme tonight, every pair that we brought together have not been pairs that are related. They have not been pairs that are related through blood, through family. It's pairs that met through Special Olympics or sometimes right out of Special Olympics and then brought into Special Olympics. So we wanted to highlight the importance of our volunteers and our athletes, the relationships they build through Special Olympics, and how amazing that bond becomes and becomes a family, and highlight how important Special Olympics is as a family, and people become a family through Special Olympics. And I said it in the beginning, the volunteer group that I've worked with, the very first meeting I ever had with them, I felt like I belonged. I felt included. I felt needed and wanted. And I think that's a feeling that's sometimes hard to get when you're in a volunteer group or anything in life. And our volunteers know they are needed, they are wanted, whether it's the staff talking about it, other volunteers, or their athletes. So we hope that tonight you all got the chance to really think about that and feel it in your heart. I know I do, celebrating all of you and our appreciation towards you. And we want you to know that you're needed and you're wanted. And even though this year has been crazy, we still appreciate everything you've done and can't wait to be back in person with all of you. So I hope you've all felt that tonight, because I know I sure did as well. So we want to thank all of our guest speakers who joined us. Thank you to everyone for sharing all your personal stories. It's been great to be inspired by all of you and what you do for our athletes, and our athletes, even your personal thank yous to our volunteers has been great to hear everyone. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to AJ and Kimber. Hello, guys. Thank you to Carol and Melissa as well. There you are, sliding back and forth. We want to thank Lisa on our video tonight, and then Christine, as well as Coach Shelley, Coach Andy. Thank you all for everyone sharing your stories, your journeys, all your advice. This concludes our Team Tuesdays webinar. Our next webinar is going to be Tuesday, May 18th at 7 o'clock. Thank you for everyone for joining, and we hope you enjoyed our topic tonight and all of our guest speakers. We'll see you all again next month. And until then, stay healthy and stay safe.